Hi, my name's Sierra, and you're listening to
I'm Melanie.
and watching Let's Talk About It. So today, we're talking, is it our responsibility to educate ignorant people on Black culture? Let's hit this off, okay? Listen, let's hit this off with like as blanket of an answer as possible. My answer is yes. And I'll explain why as we get into the show. What's your answer?
No.
Well, we've talked about this before, but you tell me why you think the answer is no.
It is not my job to educate you. It is your job to educate you.
But how are they going to educate themselves without you?
We got YouTube. We've got the internet.
We on YouTube now.
Exactly.
And the internet.
But so exactly, you need to take responsibility for your own education. You should not be going to Black people and being like, what is it like to be Black?
I do agree with you in some capacity. Yeah. Here's my question though. So when folks come up to you and say some foolishness, right? Because they really just don't know. You're going to be referred to this YouTube video. It's called Let's Talk About It by Sierra Britton.
It honestly depends on if I want to handle the situation or not. It depends.
Oh, so you just out here picking and choosing?
Yes.
Okay.
But it does. It depends on if I am in the mood, what I've been through that day, yada, yada, yada. Like, if I'm a normal human being just like everybody else. I've got good days and bad days. And it is not my job to come with the facts every single time, because sometimes I can't, and sometimes I don't want to, and sometimes y'all ain't even listening.
How often does this actually happen for you?
Often enough.
For me, it's often enough as well. I think another thing is that me and you are very vocal. Very vocal.
Incredibly vocal.
But this is all from our own experience, lifestyle, or like, well, yes, those two things. And so we're kind of just out here speaking our own minds.
And also on top of that, me and you had to educate ourselves too.
That is true.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Black people.
We really were.
But not for long, to be honest.
I mean, but honestly, we grew up in a average white American household. So,
in, like, community.
Yeah. So we had very limited resources as far as, like, trying to figure out what does me being my color mean, other than what our own experiences were. And also, like, I had to learn that other people experienced the same stuff as me. It wasn't just me.
True.
There were a lot of things that once I became an adult that I had to intentionally research. And if y'all are like, if you guys have Black people in your community, or if you are a Black person and you don't know what's going on, take the time to research.
Educate yourself before you can fix yourself to educate somebody else.
And it's okay to talk to somebody. It is okay to talk to one of your friends who is Black or whatever, and be like, yo, we need to have a serious conversation.
What do we really think about this? What
yeah,
do we think about that?
When I say ... how does this affect you?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or like, why does it bother you when I touch your hair? Or like, have those conversations. But don't be like assuming that it's their job to educate you, because it's not. It like have a conversation as if they're a human being, not a textbook. So that's kind of, I don't know. That's where I stand on it. Now, should we make it a priority to inform people who are not aware? Yeah, we should be making that a priority. Like,
so you do think
a priority, but it's not my job.
Okay. What?
Yes. It's something that I choose to make a priority.
Okay.
But nobody's going to put that on me. It's my choice if I want to or not.
Okay.
So, like, in my workplace, it's beneficial for me to be like, listen, don't refer to me as that.
What is the most ignorant thing somebody's told you?
There was a white man that I was working with. I'm not saying names.
Or where or when.
At all.
This could have been anybody.
So he said, oh, your hair's so long. I didn't know Black women's hair grew like that. And I said, sir, that was stupid.
Length check.
Hey, look at that, girl.
Length check. Just kidding.
So anyway, that was one.
Oh, I also had somebody on the hair topic. I put braids in because my hair used to be real short, so I would put braids in, and they'd be like down to my butt and everything. And well, first of all, white people always refer to them as locks.
They
are not locks.
But twists are locks, braids are locks are locks.
Everything's a lock. If it's not a fro, it's a lock. And so, or straight hair, whatever. And so this guy, I felt so bad. So he comes up to me. I had these silver, like gray, pretty. Silver, white.
I did them, y'all.
No, not this one. I did this.
Okay.
Come from my head again. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. And so basically, he comes over and, somebody was talking to me. He comes up. He's like, oh my gosh, I love your locks. First thing. But it's fine. I'm not tripping over that. And I said, I was being sarcastic, which is the devil's language. Don't be sarcastic. But I was. I said, thank you. I grew them myself. And this boy goes, I can tell. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I'm sorry. That was so unfair of me. I did not grow these myself. I put this fake pony horse tail in my head. I'm sorry. That was my story on hair. But that was not my ignorant story. My story, and this is where I kind of was like, ooh, we should talk about this, is I had a coworker. He was a little bit in an emotional state, but I felt very uncomfortable around him anyway. He was a white male. He's very ignorant, straight up, very ignorant. It has come out in multiple different things, but I have just kept it pushing. I was like, because even though I very strongly believe that it is my job, If you come to me looking for wisdom, looking for to step out of your ignorance, who am I to complain about ignorant people if I'm not willing to educate? You know what I'm saying? Not for my story. I think he was trying to include me in his whatever was happening. I do not know what. Okay, so he goes, Sierra, when we die, I think that there's going to be a lot
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He goes, on the sea of glass, there are going to be so many African Americans. What? And I was just kind of like,
yeah.
What? And I was kind of like, I literally was like, yeah, I think so. There'll probably be a lot of black people there. And I kept it pushing. And I think when he knows, we don't get along, by the way. I think when he knows that he starts pushing my buttons, he compensates by talking more. Don't do that.
Just stop.
And so I'm literally minding my own business. And he goes, because, in Africa, there's so many believers there. And they got it so hard. I'm complaining about my own first world problems and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just sitting there like...
We don't be saying this about Europeans, though.
We don't be saying this about... And I was just sitting there like, what? The fact that he fixed himself to let me know that I was on his level. What? And
that should be the basic understanding.
Yeah.
That's
so I didn't say anything at that moment because I'm still working through my salvation and I was trying not to cuss him out. I was very upset. And because I don't think he realized that he did not realize how ignorant he was coming off as, but he was not stopping himself when I was giving clues. I was done. And she can attest, when I'm done, I'm done. I waited to bring up the conversation so I could be like, this was actually very offensive. And so the next week, because this was a Friday or something, on a Monday, I was like, hey, I wanted to bring this back up. And I very calmly, not this black woman angry, didn't come for him, but I said, what you said was an ignorant comment, and who am I to be frustrated at ignorance and not be willing to educate? That's exactly what I said. His response to me was, I have brought this up to about 11 different people. Yes, maybe 10 of them were white and you were the first black one, but I brought this theory that I've had that African Americans will...
Theory?
Yes. He said this theory that he had. that he's thought about it and talked it with a whole bunch of other white people. I said, that's the first problem. You did not pass this by a black person, and then once a black person is telling you this isn't right to say, you get mad. So, but then on a different day again, he did apologize. He said, he did not apologize for his ignorance, which, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But he did apologize he really got mad at me for confronting him on his ignorance. From that, because I thought long and hard, I, talked with like you and Mary, like, what do I say? Like, I don't want to do this out of a wrong heart, but like, I can't just not say anything, because who am I to complain about people's ignorance if I myself am not willing to be like, no, that's wrong. That's a stereotype of Black lives. That's wrong information. That comment is actually very offensive. Like another one of my friends, but she's so cool. She's like, she's white and she's like with all like Black friends, and she puts herself. I love her too. She puts herself. It's Amber, by the way, because we love you.
Hey, girl.
She made a comment. We were talking about Black hair, and she used a phrase that Black people don't use to refer or to talk about their hair. Mm-hmm. But she's so open to being like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that wasn't a comment that you used. Mm-hmm. But the point is that I'm not mad at ignorance. I'm mad at the willingness or the lack of the willingness to learn and to learn from your mistakes or ignorance and to be able to move on. Talking about Black people and white people in particular is taboo. Mm-hmm. We don't be talking about that. And like, if we do, it's real awkward. Oh my God. But you have to. Mm-hmm. We have to. Yeah. Because all of our conversations are so mega, mass incarceration, which needs to be talked about it. And we will talk about it. But we got to be able to talk about hair texture too and not run away from the conversation because now we're talking about Black people and
Yeah. I think we need to keep the conversation open. I think us as African Americans, particularly, we need to be careful about how we respond to ignorance and look at what kind of ignorance it is. Are they trying to learn? Like you said, like Amber's perfect example. She has learned so much, and she's down for the cause, y'all.
She's more down for the cause than some Black people, to be
honest.
For real.
But honestly, like if you're refusing to respond to what I have to say, I'm just gonna stop talking.
That's another thing. I don't be arguing with folks.
No, I don't have time for that.
I don't got the energy. I will present
unless I sign myself up for a protest. I'm cool. like with that, that's what you expect. You expect to fight. You expect people to like trash you or whatever. But I don't need all of that in my workplace. Like if you're open and willing to learn, I don't have a problem talking to you. Let's talk. Let's sit down and have a conversation. But it's not my job, and it's not my job to take responsibility for your education when I'm still trying to take responsibility for my education in different areas. Like for instance, it is not a Latino's job to educate me on the immigration stuff that's going on in America right now. It is my job to learn. And there are plenty of resources out there.
And it's your job to ask questions.
It is.
And then
that's be open to learning.
And be open to learn. Because I'm going to be wrong. Which we are, too. And in this moment, like, we're actively seeking out information, going to meetings, trying to learn, trying to also have a biblical understanding of what does the Bible say about immigration? What does the Bible say about race? What does the Bible say about different races interacting with each other? Because everybody wants to be like, oh, it's no big thing, but sometimes it is. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not my friend's job to be like, listen, you're ignorant, so blah 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 blah. Let's give you the whole binder and a textbook. Like that's not their job. It's my job to educate myself, and that is what I do for my self betterment.
Okay,
and
I see
so
what you're saying.
There's just a bunch of people who think that it's our job when it's not our job. I can't educate everybody. There's too much ignorance for that. So
Okay, I see what you saying, girl.
but
You know what I'm saying? I
gotta
think
point
we do
sometimes.
agree, actually.
Yeah.
I think we do agree.
we just coming at the same point from
same
opposite
point, different sides.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this episode up.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking with me.
You're welcome.
My name's Sierra. Thanks again for listening to another episode of Let's Talk About It. And like I said, before, I'm gonna need that stop.
Okay.
I'm just playing. Go ahead, subscribe to our Patreon, and pass that collection plate because your girl needs gas.
Yes.
So, help a girl out, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.